Hi, we are making a little movie for you guys, and we are making it up here in Andrea's wonderful place in Secretario. I want to give a chance to just explain a little how Bodynamic looks at coding systems, developmental trauma, shock trauma, and complex PTSD. In Bodynamic we are talking about open and closing coding. So we all grow up with different kind of coding. Through our culture, codings through our family, codings through our society, or even social layer in society. We learn how to behave according to getting contact and preserving our dignity. So this is a constant balance, and we are willing to give away some of our individuality, not to lose the connection with the family or our culture, or sometimes we are giving away the connection in the try of not losing our individuality. Coding systems means that we create specific behavior or specific defense. It doesn't mean we have to have a trauma in the childhood, but even if we don't have trauma, we have certain issues where we do not in contact really behave like we would like to behave. We start to get afraid, and then when we get afraid, we get a shield up and we start to behave through the shield, being careful, being suspicious, holding back our power, trying to avoid things, in order to try to balance how to be in this world with other people. Sometimes we do it so much that the coding starts to close, and we behave more from the coding than we behave from who we really are. I know we all have tried to do things where we afterwards was thinking, oh my God, why did I say and do that? This is not who I really am inside of me. So we are doing one thing, but inside we are really wanting something else. This is in a way when our coding system really starting to close in, and we are behaving more towards the world with aspect of fear or aspect of anger or shame, that we do not know how to be in contact with other people with. This everyone has. We all have that in the whole world. That does not necessarily mean that we are traumatized. That means that this is how we have tried to manage to be in this life, in contact with others, according to where we are born or which family we have lived in. Then we can also get a developmental trauma. A developmental trauma is when there have been so much happening over a period that have been so painful that in a way we have shut so much down inside that we are not able to see that life can be different. So we live in a box and we live with a specific behavior, not having an inner insight that things could be different. Here you can talk about a developmental trauma. That could, for example, being, I do never have the right to have my power, that's how life is. Or, I cannot get my needs fulfilled, that's how life is, and I do not even think there is another option. Then we have shock trauma. Shock trauma is always an incident that happens like this. They bring us out of our consciousness or out of our ego, because the ego cannot handle the situation. We need something stronger. We need the place inside of us called the me to deal with that. And because it happens like this, the ego fragment, we go out, we have a shock, we come back, and we get into a crisis situation where we have to reorient ourselves and recreate a new form of being in this world. That means the whole ego has to reorient according to a new way of living. In that period of a crisis, if we don't get the right support or help, we can have the tendency to get PTSD. That means we have cracks in our egos where we fall into big holes of flashback, emotional, unstable. Even instead of reacting from emotion, we start to react from instinct. That's when we are not afraid, but we get into the fear of the fear. That's when we are not angry, but we're getting into the rage. That is not when we get sad, but we get into the hole of the grief. So instead of staying in the ego's emotions, we fall into the instinct and we react through our ego, but with energy from instinct. That is PTSD. Then we can have complex PTSD. That means we have developmental traumas, and then we have a shock, we go out of the ego into the me, and when we come back into the ego, we are landing in all the developmental traumas issues with the shock. And in that perspective, the developmental trauma is getting even more rigid or hard or in our life, and we get even more reaction from instinct because we do not have anything that can really support us in the ego. That's what we are calling complex PTSD. This is a very little short description of coding, open, close, developmental trauma, shock trauma with PTSD, and complex PTSD. I hope it gives you a little confusion and therefore also a little curiosity to learn more about this. Thank you.